All right, I'm back. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, Obama. Hello there, Mr. Biden. Are you still here?
You betcha. I love chatting about World of Warcraft with you guys.
I could talk about this game for billions and billions of years, believe me.
Today we're diving into the hunter class on Turtle WoW. On this server, every species can be a hunter, including the new High Elf and Goblin. So let's focus today and get started immediately. It shouldn't take that long.
Well, Obama Turtle WoW added a hunter class for undead, gnome, goblin, and high elf, but human isn't released yet as of today. Should we rank it? Human hunter isn't even on this tier list. I don't see it.
Human hunter is featured on the official website right now, and the patch is out soon, so we're going to talk about it. They're also adding troll warlock, but never mind that. No wasting time today, as we have a lot to discuss and a lot of optimal race combinations to figure out. Today we are strictly going to focus on the best hunter class and race combinations in World of Warcraft. Should we start with the Alliance or the Horde?
The hunter class, Masters of the Wilderness, brings back memories. I remember this one time in Stranglethorn Vale.
Hold on, Biden. We're not here for your boring grandpa stories. We're here to rank the best hunter class and race combos on Turtle WoW. It's time to focus so we can get this over with. I hate hunters. I hate them almost as much as I hate rogues, believe me. Half of them are in the F tier. Hunters are trash. I'm serious. Trash.
Actually, Donald, you know what? I changed my mind. I want to hear what Joe has to say. I think establishing the hunter vibe with a relevant story is fine, but for real, make it quick. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, all right then. So we had this hunter in our party, and I swear his pet had a mind of its own. We were sneaking past a group of trolls, and out of nowhere, his pet charges in, and it aggroes every single one of them, maybe like 7 or 8 of them. We tried to fight, but there were just too many. We wiped, and that hunter, bless his heart, he just says, I guess my pet wanted to make some friends.
Sounds like half of my stories, too. That's hunters for you, always causing trouble. I had this night elf hunter in my party once, total disaster. He was jumping around doing flips, and he fell right off a cliff and died in the middle of a fight. I said, is this a battle or gymnastics? All hunters are terrible, really.
Well, let's not generalize, Donald. Hunters can be great. But I do remember a hunter who kept aspect of the pack on during the final princess boss of Maraudon. Every time someone got hit, they got dazed. We tried to tell him to turn it off, but he was convinced it was helping. We wiped, of course.
I remember when a hunter used his multi-shot on a group of sleeping mobs. Woke up the whole room. We barely made it out alive. He said he didn't realize they were elites. I told him, next time, let's not wake up the neighbors.
This orc hunter I played with, you won't believe this. He went to feed his pet, but he clicked the wrong button and released it permanently. It was one of those rare spawns, too, you know. I think he waited over 32 hours with no sleep in order to catch that thing. We were all laughing so hard we couldn't even fight. It was the worst, but also the best. True story, believe me.
Well, gentlemen, it seems like we've all had our fair share of hunter mishaps. But let's not forget their strengths. They're versatile, they have strong DPS, and their pets can be a great asset if managed properly.
Well, they better keep their distance from me. I play a Tauren druid, and I'm not afraid to use my horns. Any hunter who tries to poke me will get a face full of Tauren. You know what they say, you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Many hunters opt for the marksman talent specialization for a full-ranged DPS without the strict need for a pet. And let's not forget about those brave souls who choose the path of the survival melee hunter. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty with Raptor Strike and Wing Clip.
That's cap, Barack. Stop the nonsense. A melee hunter, are you fucking with me? I've heard some crazy things, but this takes the cake. You gotta be kidding me, Barack. Raptor Strike is the most useless ability in the game. I'd rather auto-attack than use that. Raptor Strike is like trying to swat a fly with a toothpick. Raptor Strike is just dollar store Sinister Strike, and Sinister Strike is just dollar store Crusader Strike. There are many abilities named Strike in this game, but Paladins have the best one. Crusader Strike is for heroes. Sinister Strike is for criminals. Raptor Strike is for morons.
Raptor Strike, like in Jurassic Park? Wait, isn't that the first hunter ability? Is it really that bad?
Well, Biden, in the right hands, it can be effective. Remember, the game is significantly patched and balanced on Turtle WoW. Did you know that hunters have a new ability? It's called True Shot.
Well, if you're using Raptor Strike, you're not using your brain. That's all I'm saying. Hunters are range damage only. If you have to melee, you might as well quit the game. Hunters are not a melee class, period. Don't be stupid, Obama.
You'd be surprised how many hardcore hunter players meet their end because they neglect their melee skills. When things go south, having a backup plan can be a lifesaver. Hunters need their melee skills for emergencies. Think about real-life hunters. They use their hunting knives. Even Rambo used a hunting knife.
Obama, let's get real here. Rambo obviously used a combat knife, not a hunting knife. It's designed for lethal force, not whittling wood.
No, it wasn't a combat knife. Rambo used a hunter knife, Trump. Rambo survived for like 2 or 3 days in the fucking wilderness. That's a hunter knife.
God damn it, Obama. It's obviously a combat knife. He was taking out everyone with that knife. He was slashing bad guys in all directions. Combat knives are made for military applications, for lethal force. Rambo doesn't fuck around, Obama.
Trump, when was the last time you watched the first Rambo film?
Fuck, I don't know, like 30 years ago?
John Rambo didn't kill anyone in the first movie.
Are you for real? He killed like 1 million fucking guys in those movies.
Oh, yeah, when you go full Rambo, you go in full charge, guns blazing, shoot first, talk later. Gotta respect it. Is Rambo a hunter? He looks like a human hunter. Or is he a rogue? He sneaks around and he survives in the woods all by himself.
Wrong. He's not a fucking hunter or a goddamned rogue. Rambo is an American warrior. He's an American hero. You know, I'm really good friends with Sylvester Stallone. We get lunch sometimes. Great guy, really. We play golf. Great guy, tremendous guy, strong. And let me tell you, Stallone doesn't play a fucking hunter. He plays a warrior, an orc warrior, because their muscles are fucking huge.
Guys, look it up. Rambo was on American soil in the first film. Rambo threw a rock at a helicopter, and it was only because the pilot wasn't wearing his seatbelt that he died. The pilot's death was due to his own negligence. Rambo acted in self-defense. He did nothing wrong. That pilot's death had nothing to do with his hunter knife. Truly, we need to call Rambo's knife a survival knife, since it helps him survive, which includes hunting and perhaps combat if necessary.
All right, well, I guess that makes sense. Rambo used a survival knife. Anyway, if a hunter is in a situation where they're forced to resort to melee, then there's no chance for survival.
But it's called the fucking survival talent specialization for a reason, Donald. It helps them fucking survive, especially in melee confrontations.
Listen, if a hunter has to use his dagger, then they deserve to die. And let's not kid ourselves. There's a reason why so few hardcore players make it to 60. Hunters aren't exactly the sharpest arrows in the quiver, you know? I doubt most of them make it past level 10. Those noob hardcore players you see dying before level 20 every 2 minutes, yeah, they're all just amateurs coming over from Final Fantasy XIV, or maybe they played Skyrim, and they think archers are still overpowered. Fucking noobs.
Hey, I played an archer in Skyrim. Good times. Archers are strong. Can't tell you how many times I've been kited and ganked by a hunter while his pet cat is biting my furry moonkin ass. Real pain in the butt, those hunters. Real pain in the ass, you know. They're trying to hunt me because I'm an animal. They don't know who I am. I'm a druid. I'm the fucking president. I'm more than just an animal. I'm fucking spiritual.
You know, Biden, most hunters can't tell the difference between druid players and NPC animals. That's because they're not as smart as us, Joe. There's never been a hunter president of the United States. Honestly, any smart hardcore player rolls a paladin. Paladins are the obvious best hardcore class, just like they're clearly the superior class overall. I guess only the less gifted among us choose hunters. But hey, not everyone is cut out for the big leagues, you know?
Enough, Trump. I'm tired of your constant hunter bashing today. There's absolutely nothing wrong with hunters. They're a solid class. The hunter's tranquilizing shot is an essential spell in raids to prevent bosses from becoming enraged. Playing a hunter is like playing Pokemon. It's about collecting pets, training their abilities, and leveling them up. It's a fun experience, and listen, we've been sidetracked enough. Let's get back to this tier list.
Fine, let's get this over with. But I'm telling you, hunters are a joke.
You know, guys, I sometimes play on my female night elf hunter alt. She's a level 19 twink. Damn, fellas, you know, she's really tall, like... The night elf girls are like really tall. I like it. She's only level 19, guys. I have a damn good time playing her when I feel like it. The PvP combat at level 19 just hits different, let me tell you. Damn good PvP, my friends.
Yeah, I guess some people like hunter twinks if you're a normie like Biden. All actual skilled players make paladin twinks, but whatever. You know, Biden, speaking of hunters, I can't help but think of your son. I mean, he's got the perfect name for it, doesn't he? Hunter Biden, the hunter class. It's a match made in heaven.
Donald, don't you dare.
I mean, can you imagine Hunter Biden sitting there at his computer trying to figure out how to tame a pet? Dad, how do I feed my pet? Son, it's just like real life. You've got to give it some food, some love, and a little bit of your hard-earned gold.
Donald, you son of a bitch.
And can you imagine him in a raid? He says, guys, I swear my pet was here a second ago. He must have wandered off. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, Sleepy Joe?
Listen, Trump, this is a World of Warcraft tier list. You leave my son out of this. Don't make me do this the hard way.
The hard way? A diet plan with no cheat days? Now that's the hard way. You don't know shit about the hard way, Biden.
Damn it, guys. Let's get back on track with this fucking tier list. Right now. We're starting with human hunters. And before you act all surprised, remember that this is a brand new addition to the game, and it has not yet been released on Turtle WoW. It's been officially confirmed on their website, but it's not actually in the game as of our discussion today. It's an interesting combination, but we can only theorize based on the current human racial traits. For posterity's sake, I am including it in this list.
Human hunter, well, it's an interesting choice. I think the class fantasy is cool. I mean, real-life hunters are humans, right? I'm looking at the character creation screen right now, and humans don't seem to have any racial traits that significantly boost the hunter class, I think.
Wow, Joe. I'm surprised you can read. Did you get your glasses fixed?
I did, actually. Thanks, Donald. It's much better now. Turns out I've been wearing the wrong prescription for 36 years. Who knew?
I'm with Joe on this one. Humans are versatile, sure, but they don't bring anything special to the table as hunters. They're better suited to other classes. It's a trash pick for a hunter. I don't even know why they're adding it to turtle. Maybe it makes sense that every species can be a hunter. But come on. Humans live in cities. Elves live in the woods. Everyone knows that. Humans built themselves out of the jungle by the sweat of their brow. Why would I ever go back? I like Trump Tower a lot, thank you very much. Besides, if you're going to be a human, why not pick an actual good class, like a paladin or a warrior? You're going to pick a hunter, really? Only a noob would ever pick human hunter, believe me.
Well, let's not forget the human spirit. Humans have a higher spirit stat, which can help with health and mana regeneration. But I do agree it's not the most beneficial trait for a hunter.
It's trash, Obama. Human hunter is F tier, no question about it. They're better off sticking to their cities and farms. Leave the hunting to the races that know what they're doing.
Well, when you put it that way, I think we can all agree that human is not the best race for a hunter. Humans are the most boring species to play, as in a fantasy role-playing game. I'd say it goes straight into F tier.
Well, I don't know. I think human hunters have a vibe. I say they're C tier just for the vibe. They're pretty vibey, you know. Some folks choose to live in the woods. I respect that. I like nature, too. Human hunters are good at whittling wood, I betcha. And what about Russian human hunters? They get pet bears.
Sleepy Joe, this is Azeroth, not Siberia. There's no good human hunter racial traits, so why would anyone bother? It's not optimal.
Some folks may appreciate the woodsman class fantasy, but whatever. Now let's shift our focus to dwarf hunter. This is a classic combination in World of Warcraft. The image of a dwarf hunter in the snow from the original game cinematic is iconic.
Absolutely, Barack. Dwarves have some interesting racial traits that can benefit hunters. Stone form, is that good for hunter?
Oh, come on, Joe. Stone form is decent, but it's not that great for a hunter. It's more of a defensive ability, and hunters should be focusing on offense. They're not tanks.
Well, that's one way to look at it, Donald, but remember, a dead DPS does no DPS. Sometimes staying alive is the best way to increase your damage.
Ha! Staying alive? My paladin never has to worry about that. But yeah, if you're stuck with leather and mail armor like a hunter, then sure, I guess you have to worry about dying all the time. That's why hunters use feigned death all the time. They're just cowards. That's no way to live, believe me. Plate armor, a big sword, and the holy light. What else could you ask for?
And I see here that dwarves have gun specialization. Dwarves get a bonus to their gun skill, which makes them better with guns. That's good, right?
Yeah, but who uses guns? Most hunters prefer bows or crossbows. Guns are too loud. Honestly, who cares about guns in World of Warcraft? This is a fantasy magical role-playing game, not Call of Duty. Leave the guns at home. Nobody uses guns in this game. No actual skilled player anyway.
Pretty sure you're just mad because paladins can't use guns. Some hunters like the aesthetic of guns. And in a game like World of Warcraft, aesthetics can be just as important as stats.
Dwarves also get fine treasure. It's not directly beneficial to the hunter class, but it can be useful if they're hunting for extra loot.
Again, that's a quality of life improvement, not a class benefit. Besides, hunters have enough shit to track anyway. I like dwarves, I really do, but they go in C tier.
I think that's a fair assessment, Donald. C tier for dwarf hunters.
Sure, C tier it is. Stone form, schmome form, who cares? It's not like we're digging for gold here. We're hunting beasts.
Right, next on our list, we have gnome hunter. Now, this is another new turtle wow combination that might surprise some people.
Even though I hate gnomes, I admit they have the best PvP racial for hunters on the Alliance side. Escape artists can get you out of some sticky situations. I gotta say, it's good for hunters since they love running away so much. For a hunter, it's much better than stone form.
Yeah, escape artists can be a game changer. Gnomes also get the intellect bonus. And while intellect isn't the primary stat for hunters, the increased mana pool gnomes have can be useful in longer fights.
Whether it's a marathon or a sprint, a hunter should know how to manage their mana. But I'll concede, escape artist is a top-tier racial, and having a bigger mana pool doesn't hurt. Don't forget about their engineering bonus. It's really good for hunters, really good. Look, Obama, I'm all about fairness and balance. Even though I have a personal vendetta against both hunters and gnomes, I can still deliver an impartial judgment. Gnomes for hunters are A tier. I'm nothing if not reasonable.
Well, that's a refreshing change of pace, Donald. I'm glad we're making headway with this World of Warcraft tier list. Gnome hunters are indeed A tier. They're a delightful addition to the Turtle WoW universe, and their unique abilities bring a lot to the table. All right, moving on. Let's talk about High Elf hunters. This is yet another new combination on Turtle WoW.
High elves, huh? They get a bonus to their bow skill, which is nice. But let's be honest, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that impactful.
I'm not so sure, Donald. One of my lovely associates plays a high elf hunter. She can make a bow sing like Pavarotti at the opera, if you catch my drift.
Joe's got a point. That bow skill bonus can increase their hit chance and critical strike chance, and their mana regen can be useful in longer fights.
Maybe, but it's not enough to make them top tier. I'd say they're C tier at best, but whatever, I don't care.
Nah, better than that, because elves are natural hunters, Donald. The mystical elven races have a big archer lore in this type of fantasy RPG. In Turtle WoW, high elf hunters are B tier.
Only B tier for an elf hunter? I say A or S tier for sure. I once played a wood elf archer in Skyrim, and let me tell you, I was a regular Robin Hood. Are high elves and wood elves cousins or something?
Joe, that's a different game universe. Also, the bonus from the bow skill is overall not too significant, since hunters can find plenty of hit gear later on, especially on Turtle. B tier is fair compared to the other choices.
Well, I suppose not every hunter can be the star of the show. But I bet there's a legion of high elf hunters out there ready to challenge that B tier ranking with a quiver full of rebuttals.
A quiver of rebuttals, I like it. Okay, next up we have night elf hunters. Now this is a classic combination in World of Warcraft. Night elves have a natural affinity for nature, which fits well with the hunter class, making them a solid choice. Easy A or even S tier.
That's right, Barack. Night elves make for great hunters, and shadow meld can be a real lifesaver because it allows you to slip into the shadows like a fox. Sure, A tier sounds fair, or even S tier. Sure, why not?
A fox? Hold on, stop. Absolutely fucking not. Shadow meld? Really? That's your argument for night elves being good hunters? It's a useless ability. You can't move while you're shadow melded, and if you take any action, you come out of it. It's a joke. Shadow meld is a trash tier ability for cowards.
Well, Donald, it's not just about shadow meld. Night elves also have a higher base agility, which is the primary stat for hunters. It increases their attack power, their critical strike chance, and their dodge chance.
Agility, schmagility. It's a minor stat boost. Yeah, good luck noticing any difference on the DPS charts. It sucks. F tier.
Well, Donald, I think you're underestimating the value of agility. And let's not forget about quickness. It increases the night elf's dodge chance. That can be quite significant in certain situations.
Dodge chance? Are you kidding me? Hunters are a ranged class. If you're getting hit, you're doing it wrong.
Well, Donald, sometimes things don't go as planned. Sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted. And in those situations, a high dodge chance can be the difference between life and death.
I stand by my statement. Night elves are an F tier for hunters. The only good racial trait they have is wisp form, so their ghosts can float back to the dungeon faster each time they wipe. Night elf hunters fucking suck. Everyone knows that.
Well, I think night elves are an A tier for hunter. Shadow meld into aim shot is really cool. Really sick bow skills. It's cool, and it's also fun. I think shadow meld is cool and fun.
I agree with Joe. I also think Shadow Meld is like really cool, and it's also really fun. A tier for Night Elf Hunter.
Well, you're both wrong. Night elf hunters are losers. Let me tell you a story. I was in a group once, a long time ago. I was only level 56, and we were in the Black Rock depths, and we had this night elf hunter. This guy, he was a total disaster. He was jumping around the whole time doing flips and shit, and he flipped right down to General Angerforge, and they one-shot him. I said, "Is this a raid or a failed audition for the Night Elf Olympic gymnastics team?"
Nice one, Donnie. I feel like I heard that joke before somewhere, but I don't know. Can high elves do flips too? I forget. I like the night elves more because they can do flips while walking.
But that's not the end of it. After he respawned and ran back to us, he decided to try and redeem himself. So he sends his pet, a big old bear, charging into a group of enemies. Now, I was DPS on this fight, retribution, but the tank, oh my God, let me tell you, you should have seen the look on the tank's face. Anyway, the bear goes down in seconds, and now we've got like 15 elite mobs barreling towards us.
Oh boy, that sounds like a rough time.
So there we were, in the thick of it. Mobs swarming us from all sides. I'm doing my best, tanking, healing, and DPSing all at once, but it's a losing battle. I managed to take down a good number of them all by myself, but there were just too many. And where's our night elf hunter during all this? He's feigning death like a scared rabbit. I'm yelling at him to help me, but he's too busy playing possum. Everyone else was dead. It was just me. I already used my lay on hands, believe me. And yea, I had the armor talent too. We wipe, and get this, he gets up out of feigned death, and he says to us, "Woo, that was a close one. Good thing I've got jumper cables." Meanwhile, our bodies are scattered around him. I told him to use his jumper cables on me. Now get this, he only had the basic jumper cables, not the XL version. Can you believe that? Of course, the jumper cable res failed.
He didn't fucking upgrade to the good jumper cables? Well, that's totally just a player skill issue and not about the hunter class itself, Donald. Also, why didn't you use divine intervention on your healer?
Divine intervention in an LBRS run? I'm not a noob, Obama. Anyway, we run back, respawn, and rebuff, and I'm ready to give this hunter a piece of my mind. But before I can say anything, he just laughs and says, "Well, at least we didn't aggro the boss. We just had one of the worst fights of our lives," and he's cracking jokes. I had to pay like fucking 50 gold in repairs, and he's drawing happy face emojis like everything is fine. Unbelievable. So you tell me, how can you put night elf hunters anywhere but F tier after something like that?
Well, Donald, that sounds like a player skill issue, not a night elf issue.
No, let me finish. This night elf hunter, see, he was always pulling extra mobs. He'd send his pet in on aggressive. He thinks his bear can tank, Well, his bear couldn't tank at all, not even a little bit, and before you know it, we're swarmed. Happened the whole run. I almost quit, but I'm not a quitter. We wiped more times than I can count, and it was all because of him. I had to switch to healer all the time. Our priest went out of mana. It was a disaster.
Again, Donald, that sounds like a skill issue. A good hunter, regardless of species, knows how to manage their pet.
Wait, and then the loot. This hunter, he needed on everything. Didn't matter if it was a cloth robe or a plate helmet, he needed on it, and he won every single time. He was like a loot vacuum. When I asked why he needed on plate, he said it was for transmogrification. It was just some shit blue helmet, so I don't really care. But when I politely fucking reminded him that hunters can't wear plate at all, even for transmog, he apologized and said he didn't even see the armor class. Told you hunters can't read, I told you. And if I'm being totally honest, he isn't just a noob, but a massive, steaming piece of crap, just like all hunters. All hunters are like this. I never take them in my groups anymore. Even in a raid, we get a hunter if we need a trank shot, and then he's out. I'm not keeping one of those things next to me. Absolutely fucking not. Hunters smell bad, too, believe me. All hunters are ninja-looting pieces of shit. Almost every polearm in the game is a paladin polearm. It should never go to a hunter, maybe a warrior, sure, but never a hunter. Fuck hunters. Trash.
Bullshit, Trump. Bullshit. Face it. Not all hunters are noobs or ninja looters. That's definitely a player skill issue, Donald. The class and race has nothing to do with it. And hunters can certainly make use of polearms, like the ice barb spear from Alterac Valley, so don't be ridiculous. please look objectively at the elf racial abilities and not at individual player skill.
Wait, Obama, I'm not finished. We finally get to the final boss after like 3 hours of wiping because of this fucking night elf hunter. And what does he do? He pulls the boss before we're ready. And we almost would have wiped again had I not both tanked and healed simultaneously in order to save the day. Everybody died except me. Thank God I was there, really, or it would have been a long walk back. Of course, that story was from a long time ago, before my paladin was in his final form. I would have easily saved us each time if I was in my full Tier 2 Judgment or Avengers gear.
Donald, I understand that you had a bad experience with a Night Elf Hunter, but that doesn't mean all Night Elf Hunters are bad. You can't judge an entire species based on the actions of only one player.
Only one player? I've got a million stories like that one, Barack. Night Elf Hunters are the worst, and I stand by that. F tier, F for failure. And another thing, Shadow Meld. It's the most overrated ability. You can't move, you can't do anything. It's useless.
Well, Donald, I think you're missing the strategic value of Shadow Meld. It can be a powerful tool in PvP. Imagine this. You're a Night Elf Hunter. You go into Shadow Meld, and then you line up an aim shot critical hit. Your opponent won't know what hit them. Shadow Meld is really fucking cool and also really fucking fun, okay?
That's a nice theory, Barack, but in practice it rarely works out that way. Most of the time you just end up standing there invisible while the battle rages on around you. You wait there forever for the perfect shot, but it never comes. It's like waiting for a good idea to come out of Biden's mouth. It just doesn't happen.
Well, what about the fun factor? Going into Shadow Meld with a cat pet, it's like you're a part of the wilderness. It's immersive. It's really fun.
Fun? World of Warcraft is a game of strategy, not a game of fun. And in terms of strategy, Night Elf Hunters are a poor choice. Believe me, I choose to win first, and then I have fun because I'm winning. Don't you losers understand how the World of Warcraft works? Night Elf Hunters are losers. Every race can be a hunter. Just pick another species. Nobody cares about Night Elves anymore. Nobody watches Lord of the Rings anymore. Legolas is overrated. I'm over it.
You heartless son of a bitch. You know, Legolas is fucking great, man. Come on. He's a hero. Have a heart, Trump.
Wouldn't Legolas be a high elf hunter anyway? Well, Donald, I think we'll have to agree to disagree on this one. I believe that Night Elf Hunters, with their high agility and unique abilities, are a strong choice for the hunter class.
Well, you have every right to believe whatever bullshit helps you sleep at night, Barack. But in my groups, I never include Night Elf Hunters. They're noobs, all of them.
Well, Donald, regardless of your personal experiences and opinions, the fact remains that a Night Elf Hunter is objectively one of the best hunters in the game. Their high base agility, combined with the strategic advantages of Shadow Meld, place them solidly in the A tier.
Well, Barack, you're entitled to your opinion, even if it's wrong.
Night Elf Hunters are cool. And I think Shadow Meld is great. And I like animals. And I think animals are great. And hunters use animals. And druids are animals too. So fuck you, Donald. You probably just hate animals. You heartless bastard.
Well, you're both out of your minds, but everyone knew that already, so whatever. Let's move on. I have a headache, Obama. Talking about hunters is a chore. How come every class can be a hunter? It's too many hunters, seriously. Worst class in the game, basically. Imagine having to feed your Digimon pet every 5 minutes. And for the record, I haven't played Digimon since 1999, ladies and gentlemen. It's a stupid way to play this game. Hunters are so fucking boring. You just stand and shoot. The pet does all the real work.
It's done. I'm putting Night Elf Hunter in A tier where it belongs. It's 2 votes versus 1 on this one.
This is the most ridiculous tier list I've ever seen. Let's move on to Horde Hunters and finish this already. I mean, really, though, Obama, hunters are really bad, aren't they? Probably the most useless damage class in this game. Nobody takes hunters unless they need tranquilizing shot or frost trap. I'm serious. I remember this one time we had a hunter in our group who thought he could tame the final boss of Upper Black Rock Spire. We told him to kite it, not tame it, for fuck's sake. Needless to say, it didn't work out too well for him. I hope he enjoyed his 60-second auto hearth after that, because nobody pulls that shit in my raid and gets away with it. You fuck up that badly, you're fired, especially if you're a DPS. No warning, no second chances.
I'll never forget this one hunter. We were in a dungeon, and he kept using Aspect of the Pack, even during fights. We all kept getting dazed every time we got hit. It was a disaster.
I mean, yeah, I guess hunters just have a lot of different things that can go dangerously wrong, more than other classes. I can't forget this one hunter who refused to use any pet other than his white cat companion. He said he just really liked cats. We didn't have the heart to tell him that a cat companion isn't exactly the best choice for a hunter's pet. It was actually a companion, not a tamed hunter pet, but he didn't seem to understand the difference. He didn't seem to actually own a tamed pet.
Well, that's dumb, but get this. I met a real Leroy Jenkins once. There was this one hunter. He used multi-shot in Upper Black Rock Spire in the hatchery, hatched all of dragon whelps. Then he feigned death. We were swarmed by whelps. It was like an episode of a monster show. After we all died, he got up, left the group, and hearth-stoned out, didn't say a word. I never saw that hunter again.
I remember this one hunter. I don't remember his name. I think it was Jim Kern or something. He had a knack for forgetting to dismiss his pet before leaping off ledges. His pet, now I remember his pet's name, it was a rabid hyena named Fluffy, and Fluffy would take the scenic route, aggroing every enemy in sight. It was like watching a parade, if parades were made of fire and pain. When we told him to dismiss Fluffy, Jimbo Kern just looked at us like we'd asked him to solve a Rubik's Cube. "How do you do that?" he asked. I just stared at him. "Jimbo, I'm a druid, not a pet whisperer. Although, guys, I do have a hunter alt, and her pet cat is named Mr. Snoodles. And besides, why would I ever dismiss my dear Mr. Snoodles? That's like asking me to dismiss my own shadow. I love Mr. Snoodles as if he was my real cat."
Just the other day, I'm in Blackwing Lair, and get this. A hunter's pet pulled Ebon Rock off the ramp, wiped all of us. The raid leader told the hunter to dismiss the pet, so the hunter said he would just stand in the back far away until the pull. He kept the pet out. He selfishly disobeyed direct orders. Ridiculous.
There was a hunter in our Molten Core raid group who would always use feign death at the worst possible times. Now, I was playing on my priest alt, as I do occasionally enjoy healing and face melting when I'm not playing mage. More than once, this hunter used feign death as I was about to cast a big heal on him. He seemed to believe that feign death removed the bomb debuff that Baron Geddon gives. It was not pretty. The heal went to waste, and the hunter died anyway, along with most of the raid when he exploded everybody. Didn't his bigwigs add-on tell him about the bomb? Wasn't he reading the raid warnings or the raid chat? Was he not listening to our guild screaming his name in Discord? Tell me that hunter didn't have Hillcom installed. It's a mandatory raid add-on, so he must have known those big heals were on the way. Was he just not paying attention to his health bar at all?
Obama, hunters are too stupid to install add-ons, so there's no way he had Hillcom. And even if he did, it's not like hunters are aware of anything except their weak performance on the DPS chart. I had a hunter in my party who didn't know how to turn off his pet's taunt. His pet kept pulling aggro off the tank and getting one shot. It was hilarious.
I remember a hunter who was practically obsessed with aim shot. He'd always try to open fights with it, even when we were trying to sneak past enemies. He said he had longer range for opening pulls than the warrior tank. Got us into so many unnecessary fights. He got one shot a couple times, too.
There was this one time the hunter ran out of meat for his pet, and none of us had any. Rather than dismissing his pet, he just let it stay out, very unhappy, until it abandoned him. Forever. You have to feed your pets. I don't understand this kind of behavior. If you're going to tame a pet, you need to be responsible for taking care of it. Pet ownership is a big responsibility. Since that day, I always carry some extra pet food around because I never want to see another animal go hungry like that.
I remember a hunter who thought he could use his pet to tank Kazakh, the world boss in the Blasted Lands. The pet died from one shadow bolt hit, and the hunter just stood there looking shocked before he also died from a shadow bolt volley. It was hilarious. Of course, when you die on Kazakh, it heals the boss, so it gave me a little bit of trouble. We would have wiped if my big DPS wasn't so huge. Lucky for us, I happened to be in full world buffs during that fight anyway. We killed Kazakh that day with only 15 people, you know? My guild were geared as fuck, let me tell you.
I once played with a hunter who insisted on leveling up his crossbow skill from level 1 at the start of our dungeon. He wasn't able to contribute for the first 30 minutes or so, and then he actually ran out of arrows since he had just recently switched over from using a gun. It was embarrassing, honestly.
He shouldn't be using guns anyway, so at least he's trying, poor guy. One time there was this melee hunter in my group who kept using his melee weapons. Fucking Raptor Strike. He said he was going old school. We didn't make it past the first boss.
But I knew a hunter who would always use Frost Trap off cooldown for no reason except he said the graphics looked pretty Meanwhile, my game's frame rate reduced to like 5 FPS for basically the entire dungeon. Frost Trap is like slowly driving a car in the snow, not just for the NPCs, but for the players.
There was this one time, a night elf hunter in our war song Gulch battleground used Eagle Eye to scout ahead, but he didn't realize he was still standing in the open. He got attacked and didn't even notice until he was already dead. We tried to whisper him to warn him, but he didn't know how to read, just like most hunters.
I once grouped with a hunter who refused to use any abilities. He only used auto shot. He didn't even send his pet out, not even once. He said he wanted to save his mana for emergencies. We didn't have many emergencies, but we had a lot of long fights.
That's crazy, Joe, because I've also seen hunters that literally only use auto shot and refuse to use their abilities. But they have their pet out, and they think the pet will do all the work for them. They just have a one-button macro for hunter's mark, send pet, and auto shot. It's ridiculous, honestly. They're last in DPS on the charts. We just had to carry him through the whole dungeon. I also remember a hunter who kept trying to use Scare Beast on Dragonkin. He was adamant that dragons counted as beasts. We had to explain to him that dragons are not the same as beasts. He did not understand. I don't think he spoke English very well. His messages looked like they were run through Google Translate.
I had a hunter in my party who would keep on aspect of the cheetah in fights. He'd get hit, get dazed, and then wonder why he was moving so slow. He never turned it off, not even once. I think that was in Crescent Grove, the new dungeon in Ashenvale.
I knew a hunter who never trained revived pets, so he would ask our priest to res the pet for him each time. He also didn't train mend pet, so he couldn't heal it either. It was funny, but also kind of sad. Felt bad for his pet, man. Some people don't deserve to be pet owners, I tell you.
I remember this one hunter, we asked him to put on his nature resist aura to help us resist poison damage. He didn't even know what nature magic was. Also, he never trained any of his skills or pet skills, so forget about the nature resistance aura. He was still using rank 1 spells at level 60, we later found out. Sad, really. Even a young child could play better than that. I tell you, Barack, shit hunters are a dime a dozen. It's hard to find a good hunter. In fact, it's impossible. Nobody really knows how to play hunter effectively, although as raid leader, I personally know their raid responsibilities all the way through Naxxramas. The only hunter I would even consider in my raid is a troll or an orc for optimal damage output.
Okay, it's time to focus now. Back to the hunter tier list. Moving to the horde races. First up, we have orc. Now, this is a really classic combination in World of Warcraft.
Classic and also effective. Orcs get a bonus to their pet's damage, which is a big deal for hunters. Their pets are a major part of their damage output, since most hunters don't even have anything close to an optimal spell rotation. They just click auto shoot.
The 5% pet damage bonus can be a game changer. But let's not forget about Blood Fury. While it's true that it only increases melee attack power, it can still be useful in certain situations.
Wrong. A hunter shouldn't be in melee range in the first place. Still, the pet damage bonus and hardiness stun resist is enough to make Orc a top-tier choice for hunters. I'd say they're one of the best hunter choices, but their total reliance on pet damage keeps them away from top tier. Orc Hunter in A or B tier is fine with me.
I wouldn't say total reliance, but whatever. Orc Hunter is A tier. All right, let's move on to trolls. Now, trolls are a fascinating race when it comes to hunters. They've got some unique racial abilities that really set them apart.
I recognize that trolls are the best you can get when it comes to hunters. Their racial berserking increases their attack speed by a decent amount. The lower their health, the more the increase. It's like they get stronger the closer they are to death. I can respect that. I only take troll hunters in my raids. Troll is the only hunter that's worth looking at, although I would never roll a hunter myself. Hunter is a disgusting player character class, honestly.
Oh, I know all about berserkering. I remember this one time I was playing with a female troll hunter, and she was down to just a sliver of health. She popped berserking, and her attack speed went through the roof. She was firing arrows faster than a love-struck Cupid on Valentine's Day. She finished off those guys quicker than a wink and a smile. It was like something out of an action movie. She was really good, let me tell you, like really good. She had a way of making every shot count, if you catch my drift.
That's a great story, Joe. It illustrates the power of troll berserking, but let's not forget about bow specialization. Trolls get a bonus to their bow skill, which can increase their hit chance and critical strike chance. It's like they were born to be archers.
It's like they have a built-in aimbot. I'd say Troll is S tier for Hunter. The very best race for the worst class in the game, besides Rogue and Druid.
With their powerful abilities and their natural affinity for bows, Troll Hunters are definitely S tier. They're like the snipers of Azeroth. Okay. So I think we covered the best hunters in the game. Next on our list, we have Undead Hunter. Now, this is a combination that might not seem like the most obvious choice for a hunter.
Not obvious. It's downright bizarre. Undead Hunter, it's not in the hunter flavor at all. I'd say they're deep down in the F tier, 6 feet under, where all undead belong.
Now, hold on a minute. Donald, there's something kind of interesting about an undead hunter. It's like a zombie movie starring a nature-loving zombie and his zombie pets. An undead hunter with a zombie bear or zombie bat looks pretty neat, if you ask me. I'd say C tier just for the spooky vibe.
Joe's got a point. It's like a horror movie twist on the classic hunter archetype. Of course, the Undead Will of the Forsaken is good, but it seems less useful for hunter than escape artist or stone form. I don't know, D tier seems fine.
The Forsaken, the Undead, according to Warcraft lore, don't fit the hunter flavor at all. Zombie hunters? I thought hunters were all about the call of the wild, not the call of the grave. Forget about it. F tier. F for the Forsaken.
Yeah, you're right. Undead hunters are F tier. I don't like them. I think it's fine that every race can be hunter, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. Moving on, let's talk about Tauren hunters. This is a combo that's got its own set of quirks.
Quirks more like drawbacks, Barack. Tauren hunters are like a bull in a china shop. Their dead zone is noticeably bigger than other races. It's like trying to shoot a bow with boxing gloves on.
Hey, hold on there, Donald. I play a Tauren Druid, and I'll tell you, War Stomp has saved my hide more times than I can count. It's like having a personal pause button for the enemy. It's a real game changer.
Joe's got a point, Donald. The unique advantages of the Tauren people shouldn't be overlooked. And about the dead zone, some people like that about Tauren hunters. In PvP, some folks get used to the regular hunter dead zone, so the Tauren can surprise them. I'd argue they're at least C tier.
Nah, no way. They were always the worst hunter pick. Everyone knows that. Why do Taurens start with guns anyway? Shouldn't they start with bows? Aren't they all like natural and shit? Tauren hunter are F tier.
Well, Trump, you see, if you'd have studied in history class, you'd know that firearms were commonly traded to indigenous people.
And let's be honest, you never want to be in melee range as a hunter. So having a bigger melee zone and a further dead zone is a downgrade. It's like trying to play darts with a pool cue. I'd say Tauren hunter is F tier. F for fuck that.
Now, let me tell you why I love War Stomp. Picture this. You're surrounded, things are looking grim, and then, bam, you stomp the ground and all your enemies are stunned. It's like the earth itself is fighting on your side. Now, I know I'm a druid, not a hunter, but I can see how a hunter could use that. Imagine you're in a tight spot. Your pet's down, enemies are closing in. You hit them with a war stomp, buy yourself some time, get some distance, and then let your arrows do the talking. It's not traditional, sure, but it's got potential.
Considering Joe's great argument for War Stomp, I think D tier is a fair placement for Tauren hunters.
D tier for Tauren just because of War Stomp? Fine, but it's still too high in my book.
Finally, we have Goblin hunters. This is a combination that brings some unique flavor to the hunter class.
Let's be honest, goblins are not the first race that comes to mind when you think of hunters. Their racial gives them a speed boost, but it also kind of sucks, you know?
I don't know, Donald. That speed boost can be pretty handy in certain situations.
Nah, it's mid-Biden. Goblin hunter is D tier. D for dumb.
Yeah, I don't know, sure. I think D tier is a fair placement for Goblin hunters. At least the speed boost is something. Okay, D tier for Goblin hunter, and holy shit, I think that wraps up our hunter class tier list. Next time, last but not least, we have the Druid.
Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about Druids. The Druid class is really going to show you what fun gameplay is, Donald. Your precious paladin is as exciting to play as counting sheep in a field. I mean, come on, even a Murloc's lifestyle is more thrilling. They just pace back and forth on the beach all day. It doesn't seem so bad, really, being a Murloc, I mean.
You really care that much about Druid, Joe? Druid is objectively, and guys, everybody, I'm seriously not joking around anymore. Really, Druid is objectively the worst class in World of Warcraft. Joe, your Druid couldn't prowl its way out of a paper bag. My paladin is top tier, believe me, and your Druid can't even find the registration form to sign up for the tier list or whatever.
The only thing top tier about your paladin is his ability to bubble hearth and run away from a fight.
At least my paladin doesn't spend half his playtime picking flowers and talking to rabbits.
Hey, I've met rabbits who are more reliable in a fight than some paladins I've crossed paths with. At least the rabbits don't bubble hearth at the first sign of danger.
Oh, is that so? Well, your druid is so weak, even the critters in Elwyn Forest laugh at it.
And your paladin is so bad, even Hogger wouldn't bother with him.
That's weak. That's all you got today? Well, Mr. Biden, your druid is so slow the raid finished before you even showed up, since you refused to take summons and insist on your pathetic druid travel from to get around.
Oh, I actually remember that time. Why even sign up for the raid if you're going to be that late? Why not start running there early if you're going in cheetah form? You didn't even log until we cleared the first boss. If Donald wasn't the raid leader, we would have never saved a spot for you.
Shut the fuck up, Barack.
That's hilarious. Biden, your druid is so useless, he couldn't even out-heal a first aid bandage.
And your paladin is so clueless, he tried to sell his Hearthstone to a vendor.
Okay, Chief, well, at least my paladin isn't like your son, Hunter Biden, always getting caught in some scandal. I mean, if he played WoW, he'd probably try to sell his epic loot for gold on the black market.
That's it, Donald, you fucking son of a bitch. You've crossed the line. Your paladin is so ugly, even a Murloc would swipe left on him. And let's not even get started on his gear. I've seen better-dressed kobolds. And your goofy-ass shiny golden paladin mount and stupid fucking golden armor. Ugh! It's so gaudy it could make Mr. T vomit a little bit. I bet Mr. T pities you, Trump, you know? You're the fool, Trump, you fucking son of a bitch. Paladins don't deserve all that gold. Why, you get your level 40 mount for free, you fucking rascal.
At least I have a level 40 mount, Sleepy Joe. You fucking noob.
You know, I've seen a lot of paladins in my time, but yours, Donald, yours takes the cake for being the most pathetic. You just try way too hard to be cool, Donald. But in reality, you're just a sad, insecure old man. I'd say your paladin is F tier, but that would be an insult to the letter F.
Oh, yeah, Biden. Oh, yeah, well, Joe, you know, your ridiculous moonkin druid looks so stupid. It's like a chicken and a bear had a baby. I mean, who came up with that? A gnome on a bad mushroom trip?
Trump, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Maybe if you got rid of that old yee-yee-ass haircut you got, you'd get some more voters on your ballot. Oh, better yet, maybe your guild will call your sorry ass if they ever stop raiding with that brainy mage or savvy priest they're grouping with. Bitch.
All right. Holy shit, Joe. Save it for the next episode, you two. It's going to be a wild ride, folks.
You better believe it's going to be wild. Gift of the wild, that is. Mark of the wild. I'm a wild boy. You don't know me. I'm a shapeshifter. I can do it all. I'm going to show you why druids are the real champions of Azeroth.
In your dreams, Joe, paladins wipe the floor with druid. It's no contest.
For fuck's sake, guys, we're only going to compare Tauren and Night Elf. This isn't a fucking paladin versus druid competition. Anyway, I'm signing off, so let's save this energy for when we come back. Please, we've already taken way too long talking about the Hunter class. Besides, in the next episode, along with the final revisions, we are only comparing the two druid races to each other. We are not comparing fucking paladins to druids, Trump. This isn't a fucking paladin tier list.
Fine, but Joe better be ready. I'm going to bring the druid class down to the ground where it belongs, dead and buried, one with nature, just how they like it. Fucking hippies.
Bring it on, Donald. You'll see that druids are stronger than you think.
All right, folks, if you made it this far, please smash that like button and subscribe to Shoki-san's YouTube channel. Next up, we are comparing Tauren and Night Elf druids. We will also do a final review of every ranking on the tier list. So if you have any suggestions, now is the time to comment them down below.
Don't listen to Barack. I'm not changing my mind on anything, believe me.
I'm out. Until next time, folks, good night.
We'll see you later, friends.
Good night, gentlemen.
Peace.